Dropping by. If this is your first time joining us, on Weird Awakenings we discuss anomalous phenomena. The strange, the curious, the extraordinary, the bizarre. Throw in the occasional conspiracy theory, and you get us. Cecil, Hadley, Stephen, Tully, and myself, Morgana. Just a few of the weird kids. Weird Awakenings is a part of the Weird Realities Network. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to our channels. We can be found at Linktree/Weird Realities. That's weird with a Y. Okay, gang, grab those tinfoil hats and let's get weird. Well, hello, strangers.
Hello.
Hello.
How's
Hello.
everyone?
Swell.
Swell?
Pretty good.
All right. Stephen, how was your trip last weekend?
It was good.
Awesome.
Good. I didn't have to go very far. It was just
I checked the text message too late to get a damn shirt.
oh, I got you one.
Oh, sweet.
I just need you and Hadley to send me information.
All right.
Yeah.
Damn. See, y'all slacking. Me and Tully were all over that.
Oh yeah, I'm not missing a Bigfoot UFO shirt.
That's right.
Cecil Fletcher.
Beam me up, Squatchy.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, all right, we are talking about Nikola Tesla, the man, the mystery, the legend. So, I feel like he was shafted,
Yes.
and ergo, we all were.
Yes. Absolutely.
Nikola Tesla. I thought we was just talking about Tesla. Shit.
Well, if we're going to talk about just Tesla, it's got to be the band, because I'll be damned if I'm going to talk about Elon Musk for an hour.
I know. That's 0 to 60 and 3.1. I guess we could say that he's self-driven.
Aren't you?
I get uncanny valley from Elon. He's like sort of human. Like
Are you
like
sure?
how Mark Zuckerberg was like, I was a human once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see him. Did you watch that movie, The Sixth Day, with Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the 90s?
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah, I could see that main character being one of them too.
Yeah.
Very
For
easily.
sure.
Yeah, that was one of those unsettling movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because you know what's going on.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
They Live was a documentary. So was Idiocracy.
now
Yeah.
that one, I never thought I'd see the day when I would say, that was like pure
Facts.
pure foreseeing.
Yeah.
They saw this. They knew it was coming.
Arnold
I
did another really creepy movie back in the day. What was it? It was about the devil.
And it about the baby. She was pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stigmata.
No.
It was like the whole catchline of the trailer was, "What if you turn 1999 upside down?"
Yeah.
6'1".
He was like a cop, and the little teenage girl was pregnant. And
I feel like John Goodman might have been
End
in
of Days.
it. End of days.
Yep, there you go. There you go.
That was actually, they got a good devil and everything in that movie.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not as good as the devil in 30 Coins.
It was trippy.
That's true. They got a pretty slick devil in 30 coins.
And why are we talking about the devil? Because the devil took all of Nikola Tesla's documents from him when he
That's right. That's right. He died on January the 7th of 1943. And they found the body and everything, all of his papers and stuff had already been removed.
And who were they removed by?
Donald
You
Trump.
know?
John.
Trump.
John Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, I'm lost.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I'm lost. I'm sorry. I've been sending out promos for us. So I did. Tesla was like he worked for Edison.
No, they were competitors.
No, they were, but originally
Yeah.
he worked for Edison when he was a young man.
Yeah, guess who stole what from who?
Yeah. So
guess which one of the two was a thief?
I guess we'll start where he's from. Some say that he's a Siberian-American inventor, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, and futurist from Earth. Not likely, I like to say, because the FBI document, which has been released, mentions that Tesla was a Venusian who was brought to Earth as a baby in 1856.
There's I can't remember. Is it an FBI or CIA white paper?
It's FBI. And left in the care of Mr. and Miss Tesla in the mountains, Providence, and present Republic of Yugoslavia, Croatia.
I thought it was Serbia.
Gary.
This document's over 200 pages. It's been declassified, so go check it out.
Why would our wonderful agencies say that he's from Venus or the lands of Venus?
But they did say that
It sounds like Superman's origin stories, doesn't it?
It says that all of the stuff was actually removed from his room by the Department of Justice's Alien Asset Custody Office,
Headed by John Trump.
Yeah, I've never heard of that though until researching Tesla.
Really? Did Bush's name come up?
I don't know.
Hit it, Stephen. I said hit it.
Well, he was that a guy named Bush was what was it? I can't think of his first name right now. Was it Westcott Bush? Yeah, he was kind of the guy who trained up John Trump, I think. So yeah.
Was it Prescott that started what came to be the CIA?
Yeah,
he was part of it. Yeah. Yes, he was, and he did other things I probably shouldn't talk about here. So anyway, I mean, it was a fucking Bush, like.
Okay, so we've got Bushes and Trumps. Who else are we going to have in there?
Probably all of them.
I mean, if you really think about it, they're all not too far removed from each other. They're all within 7 cousins of each other. Anyway.
I actually recently was looking through that. It's like the majority of them have a common relative.
Yeah.
And they're all RH negative.
Even the man who was president after W.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
Oh, Mike, we can't say that.
Well, y'all are diving into that reptilian stuff that I was researching because I thought that's what we were talking about. Didn't know we were talking about snakes.
But, if he was from Venus, that kind of explains his genius because Valiant Thor, who was a delegate of the High Council and had VIP status at the Pentagon, it was said to have an IQ of over 1,200, which is unfathomable.
Yep. Valiant Thor actually camped out at the I think he camped out there for a while around the Pentagon.
So if Tesla was from Venus and Valiant Thor was one of their most intelligent person, even with the stuff he came up with, he might have been like one of the lower grade IQ levels from Venus,
They probably got Valiant Thor chained up in a dungeon somewhere still.
I know.
You know what's funny, Mike? I'll say this, that's all I'm going to say about it. Look into their initiation process, and you'll look at these people a lot differently.
Geronimo!
I heard that part had to be returned back to Fort Sill. and you're symbolically taking a drink there. I see that.
But
yes, we're speaking in code.
But Tesla.
Yes. Do you know his mother was an inventor? And but they still, I think one of the things that I can't remember if it was Trump or one of the other people had made the comment that he never or neither of them ever did enough or gave you enough that you could actually use it.
You can't. You can't call this person by that name. It's confusing.
Who?
Trump? Yeah, you call him John Trump. Don't just call him Trump because we say a lot of other stuff about that 5-letter name.
Trump.
I just don't want people to get confused.
Okay, so we should
the Trump we are discussing tonight is the one that lived many, many decades ago.
Welcome to our Friday night Trump rally.
Don't even say that. Don't even.
You better not joke about that. Haley will kill it right here.
I won't. But I mean,
no,
I just think it's confusing because
I'm kidding.
I
wouldn't have thought a second thing about
Uncle
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to call him Uncle Trump.
Uncle Trump.
John.
Uncle Trumpy.
But anyway, but what I was saying was that, when they confiscated all of his records and everything, they said there was no reason to let anybody see him because there was nothing there with any kind of validity, that, he didn't give them anything that, they could actually take his instructions and make anything. So they really tried to make it sound like he didn't know anything.
Yeah.
So, yet they held the records for how long? Most of them they're still holding.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, J.P. Morgan, just to refute the naysayers on that right there, J.P. Morgan shut down what Nikola Tesla was working on because he said if he couldn't put a meter on it, he wasn't going to fund it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think Tesla's biggest thing that he really fudged up on was the people he got to back him, because Mark Twain was one of his biggest backers. How much did he have? How much money?
They were
not as much as J.P. Morgan.
No.
Well, y'all writers don't make anything when they're living. Y'all know that, right?
Yeah.
But Mark Twain and him were like best friends.
Mm-hmm.
He did make him crap his pants. So that's right.
Yeah. He registered 112 patents in the U.S. and another 196 around the world.
Well, the thing I found fascinating about him was that he planned everything out before he ever built it.
Right.
And he kept meticulous records, and they're all gone.
I think it helped him that he had extreme OCD.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was fascinated with the number 3, said that he would wash his hands 3 times in a row. He would walk around a building 3 times before he would enter it.
3, 6, and 9.
He was also just kind of obsessed with ancient Egypt, wasn't he? And that he was convinced that the pyramids were actually a power source.
That's because he got that straight from the Tartarian Empire. A lot of people think he was the last of a Tartarian, mind source, essentially.
Go ahead, Stephen. Sorry.
Vitruvian Man is actually in the Great Pyramid. For people who know how to do the math, and that was one of the fascinations that Tesla had with that.
Well, and we were just talking about this, but I think it was on Wearing the Folk, and I think I talked about it on Paranormally Correct too. But the Thelema, the Aleister Crowley's book, the fundamental numbers were 93, 3 and 9, and it was all Egypt. Like they were in Egypt when he wrote the Book of the Law, which is the Thelema.
He's one of I think Crowley was one of the he's one of the only 3 people to ever be in the King's Chamber, ain't he?
Yeah, and so his wife got possessed by one of the messengers of Horus.
Yeah.
And she told him stuff, and then he received a divine message where she told him to go, and then wrote the Book of the Law. This would have been while Tesla was alive, though.
Crowley was a character. I don't know. When I was younger, I thought he was really cool. Just turns out that he was into a lot of things that God burnt Sodom down for.
Well, what did y'all think about the fact that him and Edison, Tesla created the spirit box or spirit radio, and 20 years later, Edison created, what was it, the ghost something?
It's not the Chronovision, is it?
No, it's something. It might be what it's the name that they were calling it was like the ghost something or another, but it was to communicate with spirits.
Yeah, I don't know I don't think that's the Chronovisor. I think it had a different name.
But I think they used what you're talking about in creating it. But they were saying that Tesla's worked and that Edison's didn't.
Well, Tesla's I think his was like essentially like the precursor to the recording device that Edison made. I think Edison was trying to replicate that and accidentally made the first recording devices.
That's funny, Mike.
Yeah. But Tesla had a lot of strong ties to like time travel. Like he was part of the Philadelphia experiment and everything. Like,
oh yeah.
Did you guys read? Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. See that?
No. He was like Stark's dad, is what Tesla. Yeah. Tony Stark.
I was just going to ask, did you all read anything about? Apparently, he inadvertently created the perpetual motion machine.
Yeah.
Like you hear about like the impossibilities of that, and I think part of the declassification of some of that stuff, actually, you can find a little bit of a description about how the perpetual energy machine worked, or engine.
Perpetual motion is kind of easier. Come to find out, I seen an experiment a guy did where he taped a magnet on the hood of this little toy car.
Hey, Harrison.
He taped a magnet on the hood, on like the grill of this little toy car, then put a stick on top of it and another magnet hanging from it, kind of like the old cartoon when the fat guy had the cheeseburger hanging on his head and was but the car just started moving, and in theory, if you had that on a flat track, you'd just keep going forever.
Right.
Well, they would challenge you on that and say that the magnet would run out of energy.
Then I'd stick a screwdriver to it, and
the curiosity that I've always thought, like, which we've talked about, I think in when we've talked about inventions that have been hidden over the years, is the alternator. Like, if you had dual alternators, like where the tires actually power in another alternator.
My dad told me about that when I was little. He's like, I did run forever. Which is why they killed him. No, I'm joking. Hey, Horror Chris.
Cecil. What's up, Chris?
Dad's not too far off, right, Tully?
Ignorant.
But Tesla.
Well, what did you think about his obsession with pigeons?
Well, he was a Venetian, so everybody knows that birds are not real. But you're from the people of Venus, the monitored matrix that we live in.
Well, I read that he never married, but admitted to falling in love with a very special white pigeon that visited him regularly.
That shone a light on him to me.
What gets me though is, and not gets me, but I mean, I just think it's kind of funny that he was a germaphobe, but he liked pigeons.
So he liked this white pigeon a lot. He said that he loved that pigeon as a man loves a woman, and she loved him. And as long as he had her, there was a purpose to his life.
So was that back when birds were real, Cecil?
No. I'm gonna have to read about that. I haven't heard that one. That shone all fun on Tesla on me.
Yeah, there were other things that he practiced that I have to wait till after the show.
I mean, all great men love pigeons. Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson loves pigeons.
Mike Tyson's also a demi-cannibal, but still.
We're going to have to talk about how we define great men.
I define a great man by somebody that makes more money than I do.
He also hated pearls and wouldn't talk to a woman that was wearing them.
Hated pearls?
Yep.
Tesla or Tyson?
Tesla.
Tesla.
Tesla. Mike Tyson might be a reincarnated.
No, hell no. That is sacrilege, Cecil.
Okay, so what about the death ray?
The death ray.
Is that a direct energy weapon?
To me, that's where I would go with it. Because he didn't actually call it a death ray; he called it some kind of beam. But it seems like it was the predecessor to what we believe.
Oh, yeah. It was a particle beam.
Yeah. And the force that got knocked down in Russia, a lot of people have speculated whether or not that was Tesla's work. because he said that he had proved that it would work. So what he meant by that, I'm not exactly sure, unless knocking down that forest was his proof.
Oh yeah, what was that? There was a place in that forest.
Yeah, Tunguska Forest.
Hoya Baku.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Tesla standing there and then the whole forest just goes?
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and tear that down before anybody discovers what it can do.
Oh, Landa's got a good point. I like that theory.
I like that better.
No, y'all, it was a pigeon. It was a pigeon.
Keep the dream alive, Landa.
Landa may be more right than what you're thinking. I'm pretty sure she is. I have other information.
I can't wait for after show because I got to know more about him and this pigeon. It apparently flew into his room in the middle of the night.
She flew into his room in the middle of the night and stole his heart like a thief.
Then you have the Tesla coal, which was neat. People have redone that a lot of times. There's some videos floating around of people doing that.
Yeah, there's kids that's in like the Reagan Parvished area that's recreated that to create free energy.
When we were doing the the sound one.
Oh yeah,
you know, that guy was working with sound and then had the Tesla stuff going.
Yeah, had the Tesla shake table.
Yeah,
and that's why Mark Twain hit the brown note, because he was really enjoying it, because the shake table would hit infrasound levels. Hey, Alan. And
hey, Alan.
You know, you get anything below 20 hertz falls out of the range of what we can hear, but it's infrasound. You can feel it. And the lower it goes, the more it vibrates your body. Once it drops, I think, below 12 hertz, it starts vibrating your insides. That's why Twain hit the brown note.
Yeah.
In his white suit.
That's funny.
Could you imagine the rip roaring laugh they had about that?
Yeah.
So, did you go? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to bring up. Apparently, they reported that they, like, during one of their experiments with this kind of stuff, they reported signals from the universe.
Yes. 1, 2, 3.
Yep. 1, 2, 3. And in a letter by him in 1899, it said, "We are getting messages from the clouds 100 miles away, possibly many times that distance. Do not leak it to the reporters." And he said that he observed electrical actions which have appeared inexplicable, basically from I don't know, aliens, unknown, another world. They said unknown.
Do you think that could be like the first time that somebody caught the bloop or whatever?
That sounds that way. But the 1, 2, 3 part was, I don't know, how did they come up with that?
Because it went 1, 2, 3.
Maybe. I'm just going to read this part. It said, "I've observed electrical actions which have appeared inexplicable, faint and uncertain though they were. They have given me a deep conviction and foreknowledge that ere long all human beings on this globe as one will turn their eyes to the firmament above with the feeling of love and reverence, thrilled by the glad news. Brethren, we have a message from another world, unknown and remote. It reads 1, 2, 3. That's what he wrote.
You know, it's possible that they could have been picking out from the Dark Knight satellite or whatever it's called. What's it called?
The Black Knight.
The Black Knight satellite.
Yeah. A lot of people think that those transmissions we catch, like from like far out in outer space, is actually coming from that.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's some people who put forth the idea that there are more than just the Black Knight satellite. There was probably some have gone as far as saying, you know, it was Atlantean technology, and there's still some today, you know, that's still knocking certain things out of the sky. That
was still I would put that in like our top 5 banger episodes. Was the Atlantean Lemurian and Moo episode. I love that conversation.
I kind of know that we just glossed over it, but why do you think that even a highly intelligent person like Tesla in the early 1900s was talking about the firmament?
Don't get me started on. I think we're going to talk about Pickard at some point.
Yes, later on in the year.
All right, good
Yep,
deal.
we've got
But
him.
yeah, I think this will play heavily into the Auguste Pickard conversation.
Did you see the link I put in the private chat?
I don't have my glasses on. I can't see shit.
It is a link to like 10 very rare photos.
I'm going to let you share, Cecil.
All right.
Cecil's got the fancier computer.
I figured that he did.
I still haven't got mine transferred over yet, so I can't share anything on this one.
It's going to be a minute because I got to get them all.
I just want y'all to know they were there. There's some actually pretty cool photos.
You guys can talk while I do this.
So okay, Tesla Tower, that was about when things started to go south for him. And that was set up to transmit messages, and said that it would have covered things like telephone, the fax machine across the Atlantic, the telegraph, wireless transmissions. I mean, all of that cool stuff. And then JP Morgan pulled all of the funding.
What's crazy, there is a guy, he's a young man, actually, he's in his early 20s. He's on TikTok. It's the only place I know where he's at. I think he might be on Twitter, but his name is Dr. Parkinson.
Mm-hmm.
And he is recreating Tesla coils in his backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And he started picking up a lot of steam, like tons and tons of followers, because he was transmitting messages, transmitting electricity rather wirelessly from state to state. Mm-hmm. And he allegedly got a visit, and he stopped making so much of that content and started making music content instead.
Wow.
Yeah. See, that's why the Tesla Tower was taken down, because Tesla knew that he could send energy through the airwaves just like you do a radio signal.
Well, did he call it the ether?
Yes. Yeah.
Like ethereal energy, pretty much.
Right. Yeah. And you could just broadcast it to where you wanted to.
Right. Well, I mean, and like I said, where would we be now if, you take Edison and his bullshit out of the way and let Tesla move forward like he was moving before, they put a stop to it, because he never had the backing that, what's his face had that, dead brain moment that Edison had,
He lost it.
Yeah, I lost it. But like I said, he never had all of that backing. And it seems like the more that Tesla put forward, the more that it started getting pushback from government officials, from financiers, and everything.
Honestly, I know you guys said the Tesla coil, but I think the earthquake machine was like that was the real, hey, dude, you're done.
What did you think about his sleep patterns?
Tell us about him.
Well, it was saying that he would only sleep for a couple of hours at a time, and that he believed that he was most productive if you woke up between the hours of 3 and 5, and that's when you get divine messages on what you need to be doing with your life, kind of thing, is if you woke up between the hours of 3 o'clock, which I find very interesting, because there's a lot of superstitions and speculation about people who wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, back in the Middle Ages, people slept they would sleep from 8 p.m. until 1 o'clock in the morning, and then wake up for 4 or 5 hours and then go back to sleep.
And that's kind of the pattern that he worked around.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe I should try that.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm doing.
Also, with the Bigfoot, most Bigfooters will tell you, those who go do their research at night, that from about 2 o'clock on, that's when the witching hour is. About 3 o'clock is the witching hour. If something's going to happen, it's going to be during that time.
enhance. There he is with his coal there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, imagine something like that.
He looks like a wizard.
Obliterating forests.
But you know, that very first one is a double exposure. They said he was never actually in the room when the coil was going off.
Well,
Really?
at one time he got hit with that electricity, and he could see the past, present, and the future all at the same time.
Yeah. Look at that. That's neat.
Yeah.
Now this picture right here is very funny to me. I've been listening to a band called Old 60, and their lead singer kind of looks like this guy. And one of my coworkers advised me that he looks like Matthew McConaughey out of the Dallas Buyers Club.
That's not far off. Yeah, you know, I can see it.
And Nick, if you're watching, thank you for that bit. Oh, there he is. Oh, I accidentally screenshotted it. Man. Is he holding a crystal ball? Look at those light bulbs. Could you imagine if light bulbs never got smaller?
Well, you know, the was it? The electric union came together and we're like, our light bulbs last too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I forget what city it was in, but there was a light bulb that was like 100 years old that was up on the.
It's still there. That same light bulb's like 200-300 years old now.
I didn't show all the pictures, but that's a good representation. What's this one? What's he doing there?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. But see, with Tesla, the thing that he understood is just like the numbers that he was receiving. That goes right along with language, and it goes along with music as well. It's all numbers.
And
just
numbers convert into like Fibonacci, and I mean it's all related, right?
Right. It's all related.
This makes me think: was he on the spectrum?
He was OCD. I'm sure
there was no spectrum back then.
Well, he sounds a lot of things like things on all.
He was OCD, definitely.
What's the show? The love show.
Big Bang Theory. Sheldon.
Yeah.
No, Cecil would know what I'm thinking about. The show where what is it? Autistic people are dating.
Oh, Love on the Spectrum.
He was on that show.
That's a good show.
It makes me think of Rain Man.
Rain Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff, with the numbers and the going around the building and his brilliance.
Cecil Mike said if he had a band, that's what it would be called because he's almost 60.
What's that? Old 60?
Yep.
They're a good band.
And Landa said she loves that show, by the way.
Big Bang. Oh, on dating.
Love on the Spectrum. Man.
Love on the Spectrum.
That's a good one.
She said they find better love than her.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, most of the people who are on the spectrum, they're very loving people. They really are.
While I was doing the pictures, you all were talking about the earthquake machine. I kind of toned out, but did you talk about how the cops were called out to where he was popping that off?
No, I was just saying that's about the point where the government was like, "Hey, we're going to need you to go away."
Apparently, he was in he was in a warehouse or something, and it was shaking the whole area, kind of like he was in there jamming out the AC/DC or something real loud back in the day. But the cops had to come out twice. Could you imagine that? Like he was basically a hell-raising teenager, is what he was. Yeah. Cops come out there and turn this shit down. He's like, "Oh, I got it," and he just cranks it up to 11, sets off an earthquake.
Well,
but this technology, everybody knows it was stole. So when earthquakes happen out of nowhere and things like this, or storms come out of nowhere, DARPA, it all comes from somewhere, and it's probably Tesla.
Oh God!
Well, with some of Tesla's inventions, see, what was it in 2019 when the U.S. Navy they filed a patent for an anti-gravitic device, or anti-gravity flying machine, basically. Mm-hmm. Do you think that the origins of that were with Tesla as well? Some of the papers we didn't get to see.
Dude, if he was involved in the Philadelphia experiment, it's untelling. Like
My
the kind of stuff.
My favorite thing about the Philadelphia experiment and involving Tesla, you know how the Philadelphia experiment essentially was just like a tragedy where people were fused into the ship and things like this.
Right.
People just disappeared. Tesla actually had these wristbands that if they wore those wristbands, it was to counteract that happening. But the people funding it said they cost too much.
Yeah, of course they did.
So
That's insane.
Tesla's like, if they don't have this on, they're going to get stuck in the ship or something. They're like, it costs too much. It sounds, and when I heard that, I was like, it's absolutely true because that's the government. Like they'll spend billions of dollars on a toilet seat or something ridiculous, but they won't spend an extra couple million to protect people.
Did you see where we just got the pop up that we can't post comments to some destinations?
Mm-hmm.
We're on one to not.
Let's dial it back then.
I want to learn more.
What you guys got?
I think we're good. We're good.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, I think we're good. We can't post to Instagram, but we're not broadcasting on Instagram, so it's all good.
Okay.
Well, that's a Facebook, Instagram problem.
Oh.
Yeah, you were having problems a couple weeks ago, weren't you?
We're teetering.
I'm just looking at the time travel aspect of it. I mean, there are multiple people that think he time traveled.
Right. And, he also had designs for like flying machines and stuff like that, like Da Vinci did. So, okay, here's a thought. I'm a firm believer in reincarnation. Whether or not he could have been that particular reincarnation, they had a lot of the same thought processes and a lot of the same ideas. So I wonder how much of his inspiration didn't come maybe through some channel, He had the scientific ability that, say, Da Vinci was missing. So he could
use my hillbilly language, the Akashic records.
Uh-huh. Yep. There you go.
Is that after he met that Swami?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
Just
what if he could connect to the records?
Well, after he met this, I think it was Swami Vivekananda. I'm not really good with the Indian names. Vivekananda. He started using words like Akasha and Prana and other stuff like the ether to describe source and existence and construction. So he apparently has started studying some type of natural phenomena from the Vedas, is what it sounds like to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that could have been part of his inspiration. The Brahmanas that are written about in the ancient Sanskrit were basically flying machines. Mm-hmm. What we would probably consider a UFO today.
There was I forget who it was exactly, but we always talk about weird stuff going on in South America, like the random Venusian type people that are in South America. There was a guy that was involved in the CIA. I don't know whether he was in the CIA or whether he was just an asset, but he claimed that they had the ability to basically create, like, in all the TV shows and stuff, the magic flying carpets. He said that there was a way, like through what you were just talking about, to create flying objects that way, like no technology whatsoever, like spiritual stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that was interesting because there is some really weird stuff going on in South America.
Yeah.
I question, like, going back to the flying objects and things like that. I want to get your ideas on it. Because like you mentioned, Da Vinci had his stuff and you can see hieroglyphics and things like this that show flying objects. What if it's like some people can't like say that was time travel, some people say this and that, but what if it was just the technology of the time, like they actually had all that?
Yeah,
that's very possible.
Yeah, it's no doubt in my mind. I believe that civilization was probably more advanced a long time ago than it is now.
We'd probably be a lot
Yeah.
farther if our whole society shifted toward disposable items.
Yeah.
Like the whole society is like everything you buy is meant to break.
Yes.
And if we hadn't have shifted to that, like the for-profit stuff, who knows where we would be today?
Right.
Well, and you guys, we've talked about, but I know I originally started talking about it with you all. About the resets and everything. I mean, because we had talked about at one point the fact that say the World's Fairs, they built these up over 2 years and then knock them back down.
Right.
But, who's to say that, they didn't have the photography and everything back then that they do now, that a lot of this, with the world fairs and stuff, gives them the time and the resources and everything to get rid of stuff they don't want society to know about.
Well, there is evidence where they have edited the skies in those old pictures so that the Zeppelins aren't there. Because you remember like how all the state buildings are the domes like that where the Zeppelins used to land?
Yeah.
They've edited the skies in all those videos, or not just the videos, but the pictures too.
This one might touch a nerve, but going back to things that didn't break, this might touch a nerve with our friend up there that lives next door to you, Tully. But think about Roman concrete.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was the strongest ever. It doesn't break down. But what if they had that now? People like that wouldn't really have to go back and repair things.
We haven't had a conversation like this in a while where we get to dip into old technology and resets and stuff. But
I think it plays 100% into Tesla because I think
it does absolutely.
It's remnants of that technology.
I had something that triggered me recently. So what's it called, induction heat, where people like super rich people now, they have counters instead of an oven, and you just slide your pan onto the counter and it heats the pan and you can crack an egg in it. But then if you move the pan and put your hand there, it's not hot. Have you seen that?
You ain't got to be too rich. I can get that at Lowe's for $1,400.
Well, you know what I'm talking about, though, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's, and just, this is kind of a little bit off, but it's still, the reason that I feel like, there's been a lot of this stuff and it's gone and everything is just the sheer imagination. The movie Back to the Future. Grandma walks in with this little bitty piece of, aluminum foil that's like 4 inches square, pops it in this little machine, and boom, out comes 16-inch pizza.
Dope.
Just all these things that have been imagined. And I feel like it's not just somebody imagining a movie.
I agree.
That this, there's that universal consciousness that somebody has dipped into and say, ooh, that happened one time. That would be good in a, sci-fi movie.
So what do you call that cold heat? I don't know what the official name is. Like, you guys know what I'm talking about? Like where they just set their pan on the counter and it cooks an egg and you can put your hand on it and it's not hot.
It works in unison with the pans you use too, though. You got
sounds like magic to me.
So what triggered me about it? A guy that posts a lot of reset stuff and a lot of World's Fair stuff posted a video of that technology in like the 1930s or 40s.
Yeah.
And why, if you could have an oven that wasn't like hot to the touch, why isn't that what we're using instead of like burning your house down or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mike, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
When we first moved to the coast, which was in 1998, I still had a washing machine and dryer from my mother-in-law that was 25 years old when I got it from her. And we got rid of it like 12 years later, and it still was fully functional. I just wanted something that wasn't 70s green anymore.
So there's a trend now of people buying refrigerators from the 50s and 60s because they last forever. Like you can just keep getting them fixed.
That's it. Exactly.
Hey, Shelby.
like
Hey,
a
Shelby.
1985 Toyota Tacoma.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah. Well, and it's a huge difference because Mo was actually trained in auto mechanics and stuff, and he'll tell you, give me a car or truck before 95, and I can take it apart and put it back together. But if you give me one now, I don't even know what the hell I'm looking at.
Yeah. Foreman said that he was changing. He has a new car, and said he was changing the air filter. And just by changing his air filter, it threw a bunch of sensors, and he couldn't start his car.
Yep.
I can see that.
They do that shit on purpose so that you always have to keep
pay money. Yeah.
Like you say that it's because of all the amenities and shit. All that stuff's electric. Like you can put that in there and not have all those sensors.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's like we used to have a little S10. It had an O2 sensor. Every time it went out, the part was $80, and you could put it on yourself, or it would cost you another $80 to get it installed. Mo finally said to hell with it and took it off. We never had any problems.
I drive a 06 Canyon, and I ain't getting rid of that son of a bitch till the tires fall off.
There you go.
300,000 miles still going.
Hey,
that's the problem, is that we're in a disposable society.
Yeah.
Like it's not going away either unless something major happens.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he predicted a lot of stuff too. The fact that he felt like by the end of this century that eugenics would play a huge part in what society was, that people that were repeat offenders in prison and stuff like that, which but outside of that, he also believed that we would start going back to natural products. He felt like that poisoning the system with imitation stuff would become less popular as this century moves on and everything. So like I said, and he just felt like that's the way we'll eventually go back to. He said, because there's going to come a time where the world's going to realize that war is not what's helping us. We need to start moving to things that are more sustainable and better for the people. Well, of course, that could have been what got him killed too.
Yeah, that doesn't work as long as you have people who are making money off of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. But it's my sincere hope that one day the world will pull an Iceland and overthrow their governments and everything and start living as one of the happiest places in the world.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
After all the research that we've done on various topics, it still blows my mind that like a lot of the stuff isn't in history books. Like even the stuff that's legit isn't in history books.
Speaking of things that's legit, and time travel with Tesla and his uncle and TRUMP's uncle taking the documents. Why haven't we hit on the pretty widely accepted conspiracy theory of Barron Trump?
What?
Roll with it. Roll with it.
So there was a series of books wrote in the 1800s talking about Barron Trump. When you see the pictures that's diagrammed, it looks like former president's son, Barron Trump. And essentially, I don't remember the whole story about it, but doesn't he become like a ruler or something like that, and like prosperity or stuff or something like that? Do you remember the story, Stephen?
I don't remember all of that pertaining to Barron, but I know this right here is what's really fueled a lot of the time travel stories out there.
It seemed like there was a lot of parallels.
Before we get off Barron Trump, have you seen that kid?
He's like 6'8".
He's like 6'7" or 6'8".
Yes.
What?
Yes.
He's a monster, dude.
So what are you saying? He's a Tartasian?
I think he's a Nephilim.
He's really big, and I mean the time travel thing. Everything, it just runs so.
Well,
I don't know. The story's uncanny.
You went off into a bigger ditch than I was going to go into. I was just going to say, like we were talking about eugenics, and something that a lot of people probably don't know is that America was massively huge into eugenics at the time when that was a popular thing. And the reason that that's not in history books is because the people who were huge proponents of that, their descendants write your history books. Like I could, if we had enough time, I could draw you the exact line of lineage from that group of people to who publishes the history books today.
And there's some of that stuff you cannot find on that Google
Hey, Doc.
browser.
Moogly.
Yeah, you can't find that information.
Hey, Doc.
Well, no, it's getting harder and harder to find that kind of stuff anywhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I know when my daughter, she was going over taking college classes year before last, and I was helping her with that, and I went to telling her some of this stuff, about the eugenics and who was behind it and who still looks up to some of those people modern day, and she kind of got big-eyed on me there when I first started telling her about that.
The great-granddaughter of one of them finally came out and apologized, like one of the biggest publishers of school books in America, finally came out and was like, yeah, they did fund those people, but we feel bad about it. And,
not only did they fund it, they also went through with some of their plans, and they actually sterilized a lot of people too.
Yeah. It was a bad deal, and it gets harder and harder to find stuff, but it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the best thing. We started out here that I forget where I found it at, but this one guy was talking about he had done all this research, and that when Tesla passed away, they took a piece of his DNA in order to clone him, and that Elon Musk is that clone.
It could be.
They don't look alike.
No.
I do think that Elon is.
I think he's a lizard.
I don't think he's a lizard. I think that he's a cyborg.
Yeah.
Some people think he's actually from Mars.
He might be. He's just trying to get home, baby.
He keeps bouncing off that thing up above us.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. What was it? Hang on, keep talking.
Totally. I'll send you a size comparison for Barron Trump. By the way,
Sarah said he's definitely a lizard.
Yeah, that's right.
Guarantee it. But I mean,
he's just got that look about him.
I know we didn't really hit like on hard Tesla, like things like that, but I mean, he was a fascinating character for sure.
Oh yeah,
the world would have been a lot different if he had the right people backing him.
Oh hell yeah!
So
absolutely.
Do you remember this happening in March? I had to pull this up just to bring it up while we were talking about it.
It's only February.
I know, but you would think this would be huge news because this cost between $5 and $10 billion to develop. But SpaceX's Starship was just lost on entry. And to what Stephen was saying a minute ago. So after the re-entry, contact with Starlink, SpaceX's internet service, completely lost track of SpaceX's Starship, which was a massive rocket.
What?
Yeah. So he estimated that the program cost between $5 and $10 billion. And
change.
Yeah. So let me just give you the stats on this rocket that they lost. It was 160 feet tall, 30 feet wide, and weighs 2.8 million pounds.
That's nothing.
And it just went boop.
So
I definitely think they're doing some shady stuff.
So
that's all I'm saying.
It disappeared on re-entry, like coming back.
Yeah. You've seen the rockets that they land, like re-land or whatever.
Going by.
Yeah. Take that and make a GIF out of it. But you get what I'm saying. Like it was supposed to re-enter and land on a pad,
Yeah.
And they just lost it. It went into the ether.
What is their speculation? Like,
well, probably that they just shot it and hit the firmament or something. I don't know.
Up on the firmament.
Tully, were you talking about radiant energy?
Yeah.
When?
Earlier, when you were talking about the heat, non-heating heat.
Maybe. I don't know the name of it. That's what I'm saying.
Sorry. I know I'm way late in that part of the conversation, but it just clicked in my head
I feel like in the last 5 years, I seen that for the first time. Like where somebody had a pan on a piece of what looked like granite, like their countertop, and the pan just starts cooking an egg.
Huh.
And it's the most bizarre thing, but I literally have a video that I could show you guys of that technology in the 30s and 40s.
You can buy it. You can get it for fairly, like in the grand scheme of things, you can get it fairly cheap. In the grand scheme of things.
So, okay, let me ask you this. Is this what you're talking about? Because if it is, I'm going to have to go plug mine in. It's like you have to have a very specific type of pan that sits on top of it.
Yeah.
I've never felt it to see if it gets hot or not. I just turn it on to the heat and say, hey, it's cooking.
Yeah, I guess they're installing them like maybe they drill under the countertop, like the stone, to where it's kind of thin and put those.
Yeah.
But these people just have these big open granite countertops and will set their pan on the countertop and start cooking on nothing.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
And it's very, very bizarre looking.
You can get them to look like your countertops, essentially, is what he's saying. But I'd like to have some, but I don't want to invest in that kind of pan. I just like
that. That's a rich people thing.
Right? Yeah, I just get my pans out of the dumpster. I don't care. So,
of course.
So, final thoughts about Tesla from everybody, including everybody watching. What do you think?
I think we really lost so much opportunity.
He could have changed the world if they would have let him.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I think he was way ahead of his time.
They pointed him at destruction rather than creation.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll say what pisses me off is even today they're still trying to discredit everything that he could have done. They're saying, talking about the free energy that he proposed, they're like, oh, that's a lie. Like when I was researching and I was reading an article, that was a lie.
Agreed, Mike.
But these world fairs that we've talked about ad nauseum before were powered by Tesla energy.
Yeah.
You can see the coils at almost every one of them.
Yeah. The Eiffel Tower was more than likely one of the transmitters of it.
But some of the World's Fairs, like you literally can straight up see a Tesla coil at the World's Fair. Like in all of the documented ones in the 1800s, early 1900s.
So in the instance of that, they're saying that it was all bullshit, but why would they use his power to power what was known as the future of technology, and then it just went away?
Well, here's the weird thing is, what if he was just building on something that already existed?
Exactly.
Right.
Like what was it? It was like the mid to late 1800s where you can literally see Tesla coils in those pictures.
Star forts, pyramids, and bell towers. Oh my.
Don't get me started on the bells. That's one of the worst ones.
Yeah.
Resonant frequencies.
We're going to have to do the best of episode where, one of our free times where we touch back on some of the stuff like that.
We might need another Atlantis Lemuria Mu episode sometime.
Was I there for that?
Yeah, I'm wondering the same thing. Did I miss that one?
I don't.
That was like one of the best. That was a great episode.
It was actually 2 episodes because we got so deep into it. We did it 2 weeks in a row.
I must not have been on the show yet.
We might need at least 2 more episodes of that because the theories and stuff were on point.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, because it was during that episode I sent y'all pictures of the kids that are born in Cambodia that are actually born blonde-headed.
I remember that. I don't remember that episode.
That was, that was the same episode.
Yeah, that was in that episode.
Where were we, Cecil?
High. Y'all were high.
In Indiana land.
Yeah.
I assume me and Hallie was sitting here going,
right, insufferable.
But yeah, and like I said, yeah, I do. I feel like we lost so much opportunity, and he was way before his time. I hope what he visualized for the end of this century happens way before the end of the century. I'm not going to hold my breath, but it would be nice for everybody to set aside the bullshit, and work together to get us where we should have been decades and decades ago.
The good news is we're not going to see the end of the century.
No. Some days I don't know if I'm going to see the end of next month.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about at some point, which we don't, I guess TikTok, right? But and Morgana, you might remember this from years ago when I did that event out at Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm.
But when we were, the research I had done at the time was about the age of Aquarius, and that between like the end of the age of whatever we were in, which I can't remember, but before we went into the age of Aquarius, there was going to be a period of years, and that things were going to be very dark and very dismal. And that there was going to be a number of like rapid fire changes of things that were happening and awareness shifting and all these things coming to a big head. And then from that point, we would go into the age of Aquarius, which is we're at the end of that cusp time right now. And looking back on and reflecting on that, I think that it is amazing how fast things have changed just since 2020.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The time's running out on that for sure. Because I mean, it obviously seems like we're in the dark phases right now, or possibly at the beginning of them, which would suck.
Yeah, I don't know. Looking at everything it's around, I think we're at the beginning of something. But
for me, as soon as they started coming out and being like aliens are real, I was like, okay, this is they're starting something. And last month the Pentagon, the oversight chief for that sort of thing came out and was like, there could be a mothership in the solar system.
Well,
right.
I'm just like, what are you talking about?
They've turned it into there's a bunch of bridges being taken down by things losing power. Chicken coops chickens are catching things, and we're killing thousands of them.
Yeah,
there's a fucking spaceship.
You can't afford groceries. Well, what about the mothership that's in our solar system?
Yeah, it's and the first documented case of dairy cow to human bird flu was recently documented in Texas.
Yay!
But non-human biologics are flying UFOs.
Don't forget about the spaceship that was seen next to the sun.
People don't care about that. But y'all remember, I guess, what was it? 2017 was when they came out with like Space Force.
Yeah.
And I remember then telling people, because I don't think we were hanging out then, but I was like, dude, why isn't people realizing that there's something going on? If the Orange Man is making a Space Force, people, there's something going on. But
I'll tell you what's going on. Boudreaux is sneaking out at night, going to his lair and flying UFOs.
You know my dog's name is Boudreaux, right?
That's who he's talking about.
That's him,
non-human biologics. That could be Boudreaux.
Could be. He's going, what are you saying about me? Oh, Boo Bradley.
Stephen and Hallie, I don't think we got your final thoughts on Tesla. Might not have got Tully's.
My final thoughts are, it's just one more person that
Am I still there? Y'all still hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear you.
Well, my thoughts were just that it's just one more person who doesn't have the right PR team.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know, if the right people had known about him and the right people had supported him, then we would be living in a different world today.
Maybe them 7 billionaires that didn't go down in the Titanic.
That's right.
Yeah.
See you, Mike.
Okay.
Were y'all able to hear me a while ago? Because
No,
Did I
you
get
went
out?
out for a second.
You kind of glitched. You're kind
I
of glitching
glitched.
now.
Yeah, I wish Tesla would have been around sooner. Maybe could have got some of his technologies out to the public before all the robber barons got a hold of him and shut it all down.
Yep. Agree.
Yeah, I mean, if you look through history, the plot point for where things started going south really was the Titanic. But like I said before, they pointed his intelligence at destruction and not creation. And I think that shows today. I mean, we look at the world, like people focus on weapons, like it's all focused around destruction, even today.
Right.
Rather than creating a peaceful society, we look.
Well, it's easier to break shit than build shit.
Completely agree.
Yep.
And everybody makes money that way.
No, we don't.
We don't. But
You said everybody. Damn it.
Yeah, every one of the people who need to make money off of us makes money in that way.
Okay, there you go. I'll buy that.
Well, I'm going to say this, and it has nothing to do with Tesla, but it has to do with being aware. If y'all are not subscribed to the Debrief newsletter or listen to Micah Hanks' program on Spotify, y'all totally should. He always has some really good information, and it's pretty authentic stuff. So
I go to Sam Tripoli for my information.
I'll
check it out. I'll still not check it. I need to.
Stephen, we need to get Micah Hanks on our show sometime.
Yeah, we should. He's I like Micah. He's a sharp guy.
Mm-hmm. He shut Scott Baker up. I told y'all about that, didn't I? I never heard Scott be quiet. He just sat and listened to him.
Hey, Lee.
He said he really knows his stuff. I said, yeah. Hey, Lee.
Yeah.
For the state strangeness stuff, I know. So Chris is in Texas, and I'm trying to get Chris to come on to talk about some of his crazy experiences.
What do we have coming up? What's our next state? What? I can't remember.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Okay.
I'm gonna have to like
Baker that lives in New Hampshire.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So I'm gonna have to. I'll get Sarah to verbally assault Chris until he's willing to come on. And
here's the thing: if we need to do some rearranging to accommodate that, just let me know, because we can definitely swap stuff around.
Bethany said she'd do the Idaho show.
I thought it was Iowa.
It was it might have been. It was just started with the I.
Okay, one of the I states is Bethany. That's her second state. So cool.
And Rich and Scott and Sarah all lived in Massachusetts. Well, Rich still lives in Massachusetts, but the other two used to.
Yep. I will definitely send it out. I posted it to the group the other day, and like I said, I can send the state stuff out as it comes out too.
Tell Rich, Massachusetts, December 20th, 2024. You better mark it on his calendar.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
All right, guys. We have officially given an extra 8 minutes.
Yeah.
9
minutes.
And now.
TikTok, 9.
Yep. So we're going to hop. Thanks so much for joining us. Next week, we are talking Wyrd, New Hampshire. Don't forget, you've also got watching Wyrd on Thursday nights. Do y'all have anything good coming up?
Next week, I think we are talking about the classics, early 80s movie, The Warrior, and I don't know what we're pairing with it.
Talking guys into doing that show earlier, so I can
You're right.
so I can watch it.
And I'm not sure when our next Folking Weird is going to be. Just as soon as somebody gets out and gets some footage.
I've got
All right, Chris. I'll let you know, Chris. I'll message you, Chris. We'll figure out a good Friday for you to come on.
We got
absolutely.
I've got 2 videos in the chamber for Folking Weird. Whenever.
Okay,
and
awesome.
I've got some people who are wanting to come on and talk with us some, so we might be having some more weird reality conversations. So
awesome.
Yep.
Sounds good.
And Cecil may be going to East Bernstadt to get some footage, and then we may have a good Folking Weird.
Yeah, I'll belly crawl for 2 miles so I don't get fucking shot.
I was Steven to go back out in the woods, and that was a fun episode.
Yeah, we got to figure out the clipping. I don't know what's causing it, but we'll figure it out.
We got to experiment. We're going to try next time. We'll see if it works.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, everybody. Y'all have a great weekend. And until next time, stay weird.